We talked about him in June, and when we did who could be the next JSN, we both were like, okay, we'll put this name on the list, but not quite sure. You've got Stephon Diggs. There's this fine line, Matt, that you have to walk this line between the actionability of some of the beat reporters from these teams and then how much of it is just coach speak or practice. But when I look at Mario Douglas, ranked 69th ECR right now, and everything that is coming out of New England, I too am excited for Kyle Williams and his dynasty value. I'm excited to see Stephon Diggs play again. He's returning from ACL surgery, and by all accounts, Demario Douglas has been the best wide receiver at Pat's camp. He plays the slot. That's what he does. He is a slot wide receiver. He's not playing on the outside. He's not doing any of that. He's playing in the slot. And his offensive coordinator this year is Josh McDaniels, who has historically utilized that position very, very well. One of my guys, beat reporter out of New England, Taylor Kyles, he said Demario Douglas looks more comfortable than ever under Josh McDaniels, consistently getting open, catching everything thrown his way, and quickly becoming Drake May's top target. Drake May's final season at North Carolina, he gave Josh Downs all the damn targets he can handle. You know where Downs played? Right in the slot. That is where Pop Douglas is going to play. This is an ambiguous wide receiver room because there's a lot of reports about Kayshon Boutte playing well. We've got Kyle Williams, who you and I both love. It's just tempering those rookie expectations. Douglas has been on the field for 2 years. They're not taking him off the field. I cannot scream at this ADP enough saying this is just too low for a player who's projected to be in a much better offense, manning a very important role for Josh McDaniels. It's Pop Douglas.
Yeah, nice player is Demario Douglas in isolation, a guy that's a little bit of a weird slot receiver because he's, I think, actually a better man coverage beater than a zone coverage player, but he can continue to improve against zone coverage the more reps that he gets. But the fact that he came out there as a rookie and showed that he could beat man coverage in his year one reception perception profile, that was pretty encouraging. Like, I don't think he's a useless player. I think he's rock solid performer. And there's definitely questions about those perimeter receivers. That battle at X between Kayshon Boutte and Kyle Williams, I think is interesting. But then like Matt Collins comes off, was it the PUP, or he's immediately healthy, and then he starts taking reps with the starting X receiver. And I've seen a few Patriots fans just be like, I mean, come on, man. Like, we're really going to run Matt Collins out there to get like 25, yards per game or something like that. We probably don't need to do that when we have some young guys that could man that position. But I also understand Matt Collins is like a culture setter, a tone setter. He's a good like blocker, things of that nature. They probably do want him in the room, but it's just the one guy that doesn't have any questions in terms of his availability, in terms of the position competition, the battle there is definitely Pop Douglas. So what do you like about his game? Like, when you watch him, what kind of stands out to you?
For me, it's the craftiness, right? It's the craftiness and his ability after the catch is what I really, really like. And, you do a great job, Matt, of highlighting how the players win versus man versus zone. Like, I love all of that detail because it really does paint the picture for how they might succeed when they get on the field. I've got this wide receiver model that just kind of looks at usage, right? Just how was he used? Targets, first downs, all that good stuff. When I look at Pop Douglas's usage from last season on a high-end outcome, Matt, top 10 percentile outcome based on how he was used in 2024, you're looking at about 13.6 points per game you can expect from him in 2025. That's not groundbreaking. That's nothing that's going to win your league. But if you're talking about a player that's going to be able to give you 12, 13 points per game on a consistent weekly basis, potentially on the high end, there's probably going to be some weeks in which he spikes, in which he pops. And for me, what I'm looking for is I'm chasing the opportunity. If we are expecting this offense to take a step forward, to play better, to utilize their players to their skill set more, there's going to be a beneficiary. And in Josh McDaniels' offense, that has historically been the player occupying that slot role. I don't know how Diggs' knee is going to hold up, but what I do know is when Pop Douglas was on the field and got some quality targets from some very inconsistent throwers of the football, he's been able to succeed and perform well. So I'm just banking on that trend continuing with Pop getting that usage while everything kind of shakes itself out around him.
And if you want to invest into Pop Douglas, because he's, again, a guy that is not drafted right now in Yahoo leagues, expert consensus rank wide receiver 69. I've got him around like 62. He might be a guy that you want to just take with one of your last few picks. Stick him at the end of your bench, because I don't know if you've seen the early season schedule for the Patriots from a secondary perspective. I just mentioned the Raiders. Not a great secondary there. They're the first team they're going to play in week 1. The Dolphins, dude, Ray, I mean, I know you used to play ball. I know you tore your Achilles up recently, but like, you might be able to line up at cornerback for the damn Dolphins right now, pal. They do not have a good situation going on there. The Steelers, that's definitely a tougher matchup. And the Panthers in week 4, like, we might come out here and Pop Douglas is a near, 70% of the routes sort of player. He's leading the team in targets per route run the first 2 weeks of the season. That schedule, like, he might be a guy that people are looking at as a potential year 3 leap candidate, simply because, like, all right, he crushes it in the first couple weeks here.
Yeah, again, it's the cost too, right, Matt? You said it. You could take him at the end of your draft. You could stash him on the bench, and in some shallower leagues, he might be on waivers. What I would suggest is just put a star next to that name. I think we're all a little curious about how Drake May is going to perform in year 2, better offensive environment, better offensive situation. I think we're all trying to see how this is going to shake out in New England. What I caution people on is what we normally do is just draft Kyle Williams. We just Diggs, Kyle Williams, Diggs, Kyle Williams. We just smash those two. Drake May's projected for 3,500 passing yards and 23 touchdowns. It's going to be more opportunity than just flowing to Kyle Williams and Stephon Diggs. There's got to be somebody else. Just do the math don't math with just Stephon Diggs and Kyle Williams. There's going to be another pass catcher, and I'm going to bank on the one who was one of the better ones for them in inconsistent quarterback duty last year in Pop Douglas.
Yeah, and I'm ahead of a consensus on Stephon Diggs. I just think he's the right type. If you're betting on an aging receiver, which, look, I'm not going to go crazy on Stephon Diggs, but I do think he's the right type of aging receiver to bet on, because he is like, he made his career as being an outlier already. So he can be betting on him as a guy that outworks his timeline and stuff like that. It's not a surprise that he's here. And like, he made his career off being a great route runner, being a great technician. Like, that's why he went from being a damn 5th round pick to one of the most productive wide receivers in football. So like, I want to bet on him again, a little bit ahead of ADP, not like going crazy on Steph Diggs. But a guy like Kyle Williams, who's a rookie I really, really like, he was still primarily a one side of the field player, a guy that, played at a lower level. I do think projects as somebody who can play outside, play inside. But if he is a second half of his rookie season sort of breakout player, like, the Patriots have a pretty late bye, week 14 bye. We always talk about the post-bye rookie bump. That might not come till later in the season for Kyle Williams. So I think you're right to call out Demario Douglas, because, man, he was somebody that, you know how this is. It's always on to the next thing. Like, as soon as Kyle Williams was drafted, it did kind of feel like Pop Douglas. And I might be guilty of that too, just sort of got thrown to the side. So you're right to call him out here as a potential value pick.
Just a quick question. No, you don't have any concerns. Diggs, the knee injury, that doesn't give you any trepidation at all. Or do you, I mean, he looks good, but do you, how are you just feeling that one?
It's got to give you pause. I have what I can tell you is that he was playing pretty good football before he got hurt, right? Like, that's the best thing we can say is that, and I always talk about this. I'm curious if that's reflected in the Trinity and all of that. Like, for me, it's always tough with aging receivers, man. Like, some guys, I go back to like Des Bryant with the Cowboys or Allen Robinson. Like, there's that drop, and then there's the cliff. That's it. They're off. Like, it's over so fast. There are other guys that age kind of gracefully, right? That's like they're in decline, but it's like a steadier decline. Keenan Allen, I think, has been that guy where he's obviously not the Keenan Allen of old, but it's like a steadier sort of drop off there. I think that Diggs could be one of those types. But again, the knee injury, that's why I still, being ahead of consensus on him means I've got him at like wide receiver 35 or something. Now the ADP is coming up because I think now people are hip to like, he's not going to miss time at the start of the season, but I feel like wide receiver 35 hedges the bets enough that I'm not counting on him to be a starter, but if I get him at wide receiver 35 and he actually turns into a top 24 producer, I can see that within his range of outcomes.
Matt, I'll just say the Trinity says his lowest in outcome based on his usage last year for Stephon Diggs is Pop Douglas's highest range of outcome. It's 13 points per game is the lowest for Stephon Diggs. The usage was incredible. If he's 85% of what he was when we saw him in Houston, he's going to be a massive steal at cost. Absolutely agree.